Andrew Callaghan drops an HBO documentary special, and within 48 hours he's on YouTube posting a response video to like 14 different Me Too accusations.
My name's Andrew Callaghan, and I first went viral online for
This kid had the career of an early SpaceX rocket, went straight up and imploded. And then he vanishes, like a Malaysian Airlines flight. What happened? Well, his response video didn't do him any favors, which is interesting. It's interesting to watch talented people do something really poorly, because then we can learn what we could do better when we find ourselves engaged in a media conflict. Like, what are the strategies? So this video comes to you in two quotes. The first by Prussian military leader Karl von Clausewitz, "No battle strategy survives first contact with the enemy." And second, put a little more poetically 100 years later, by Mike Tyson, "Everybody got a plan until they get punched in the face." So I want to take a look at Andrew's video to learn what we could do better if we get punched in the face, because Andrew Callaghan got punched in the face by success.
All right, I never thought I'd make a video like this, but I think there's an important conversation to be had, and I just want to be fully accountable, honest, and transparent with all of you guys. So I'd like to start by thanking every single person who's came out in the past week to speak about different ways in which my behavior has made them feel uncomfortable or pressured during a sexual situation, and to people who said that I've made unwanted advances and had a hard time with rejection.
And here, Andrew makes a strategic mistake immediately. He misidentifies his audience. He talks to the women, his detractors, his haters, if we want to define them as that. But that's not his audience. Often people think they're apologizing to either their fans or to their haters. Neither of those are the correct audience. The correct audience for an apology video is the great swaths of people who are not familiar with your work, but may be familiar with your name. And you want to control, without any other context they may have, their emotional reaction to hearing your name. When you find yourself in a public relations crisis where you are required to respond, it's best to examine any interaction with the media, not in terms of what is morally right or wrong, but understand the mechanics of the game and what is the right or wrong strategy to win, with the goal of winning being, what does winning look like? Well, it looks like not only preserving your audience, but preserving it in a way that you can continue to grow your audience and preserving your relationships with networks, advertisers, so that you can continue to have an income. This is a video where we put our feelings aside and talk about media strategy.
I'm sure this was not easy to do. It's never easy to speak out, and it was hard for me to hear as well, because to be honest with you, up until this point, I didn't even really realize that I had this pattern that had affected multiple people. I'd also like to apologize for my silence. I think that when this stuff first came out, I was in a state of denial and shock. I was, just riding the high from my movie that just came out, and then within 48 hours, I was denounced by my closest collaborators, and my name was printed in 40 different news outlets next to the words "sexual misconduct." And
there's a bit of a Marshall McLuhan tactic to this, but there's a truth that often the medium is the message. How people interpret what you say is more by the way you say it and how you look saying it than the content of what you actually say, which again, Andrew Callaghan makes the mistake of, is not controlling his perception. And the best way of controlling the perception is to present an aesthetic that makes people doubt what other people are saying about you. If you look like a creep with your hair long, not really combed, wearing a sweatshirt, and people go, "Wait, what was he accused of?" Yeah, he kind of does look like a creep. I can see it. Right there. Their opinion has already solidified about you. You need to put on a perception that goes more like this. I don't know. I mean, he doesn't look like he would need to do that to get the women or the money. He looks good to me. He looks successful. I certainly wouldn't be complaining. Maybe the people just hating on him are jealous. That's what you want to do.
Next to the words "sexual misconduct," and I just kind of spiraled into a mental health crisis. I'm okay now, but I don't really think this is about me. This is about the people that I've affected. So I just want to express my complete sympathy, respect, and support for anyone who I've done wrong by. And I really want to do better and be fully accountable for everything that I've done. So that being said, I want to make a few things clear. I've always taken no for an answer. As far as consent, I've never overstepped that line. But I think I want to have a more nuanced and important conversation about power dynamics, pressure, and coercion. Because, like I said, I think for a long time, I was behaving in a way that I actually thought was normal. I thought that, going home from the bar alone made you a loser. I thought that persistence was a form of flattery. And I thought that, if at first somebody was reluctant, they're playing hard to get, just try harder. And if you think someone's feeling you, make a physical advance and see if
Somebody who has worked in media for years and just got finished doing a lot of PR work for a company. Companies and people are different, but often people get very bad advice and consultation. Andrew's saying some weird stuff and kind of lost the script of what he wants to say. What is his message? What is he trying to convince his audience of?
really want to do better and be fully accountable for everything that I've done. So that being said, I want to make a few things clear. I've always taken no for an answer. As far as consent, I've never...
Nonetheless, I think it's a good time to explain what it feels like to be on the receiving end of a hurricane of accusations and how it affects the thinking. Here's what I most commonly see happen. First signal of trouble that occurs is a report or accusation that starts to circulate underneath the current of social media. You watch it and feel it's unfair, but you don't want to attract attention to it by responding to it. So you don't mention it to anyone. You hope it goes away. But it doesn't go away. A week or two later, more stories are vocalized, and people share them. You weren't aware people felt this way. Do people think this about me, you ask? Why didn't someone tell me earlier? Why didn't anybody say anything until now? And before you can think of a response, more stories are published, more accusations leveled, more tweets go viral. The press is now talking about it. Your friends are asking if this is all true. The press is asking you if this is true. Your initial argument is now irrelevant. There are too many stories, too many people, and you don't know what to do. You don't know how to respond now. It's all so much. So many people, so many memories. It's like punching underwater. You can't grab anything you're trying for. So you retreat. You go silent for days, praying it stops. But it doesn't. People are blowing up your phone. You're all over Google. You're on social media. You're on the news. Now people are expecting to hear from you. What are you going to say? Why aren't you saying anything? You must be guilty. Silence is sketchy. It's emotionally overwhelming. Your cortisol spikes. Your adrenaline overdrives. You can't think clearly. You can't sleep. People are saying you now need to apologize. You need to refute it. You need to donate to a charity. Where are your friends? What happened to all your other good qualities? Did they just vanish? You're a good person. You've helped so many people. Where are they? Why won't they say anything publicly? Where are your friends? Do you have any friends? This is the environment people find themselves in when they make response videos. So I'm sympathetic that it is not the best environment for clear, rational thinking. Nonetheless, whether you speak or not, the game continues. So step 3 is control the narrative. Otherwise, the narrative controls you. Once you've opened a window of perception, thinking, well, I'm not sure, they don't look like the type, you then funnel everything you have through that window of doubt. And you have 2 choices. The first is radical acceptance. The second is total war, atavistic aggression. Those are the only 2 successful strategies I've seen work consistently. Andrew's problem in his video is that it's not just his appearance, but his response is insipid and chronologically unclear. He downplays but doesn't deny incident. He accepts but then shifts blames. He is not controlling it.
And I think that I want to be fully responsible for not having a fluid understanding of consent and what enthusiastic two-way consent looks like. That being said, a lot of the things that have been said online about me are not true. A lot of things are missing really important contextual information that I think would change people's interpretation of a lot of these situations. But
you must control it, or the narrative will control you. Someone else will control it and punch you in the face. In my many years talking to people, what I've learned is that people intrinsically dislike in their gut when another person is obtuse about their Machiavellianism. When Andrew says he's young or 25 or blames alcohol or goes to therapy.
Also, not to blame alcohol, but I truly believe that alcohol was a contributing factor to my poor decision making.
People collectively eye roll because it's not radically honest. Who does he think we are? Stupid? Instead of looking like a scrub and trying to explain your actions, you just accept them in totality. It sucks, but it works. It works as long as you haven't done anything too egregious or criminal. Don't admit to crime. Hey, I want to acknowledge a lot of the stories you've seen about me on the internet are true, and there will continue to be more. The truth is, I behaved poorly with women across America while working for years, and I should have behaved better. I know I can behave better. Like most people, I like sexual interaction, and because I travel for work, I sought out women, and then for sexual expediency, I was not honest or respectful with them during the course of our relationship. I took the gift I have for talking to people, and that I'm so thankful for, and misused it. I frequently persuaded numerous women to sleep with me, and then misled them, and even sometimes myself, about my motivations for doing so. The motivations were always for sex. While no story about me is completely accurate, the collective sketch is fair, and there will continue to be stories about me and my behavior that pop up in social media in the future. I want you to know that now. To the women I hurt and misled, I apologize. I was motivated by sex and behaved childish, and I can understand and empathize how having a negative interaction, especially a sexual one with me, but then forced to continue to see me paraded around on HBO or celebrated on YouTube, can be deeply frustrating and lead you to want to share your story to balance the karma. I get it. I don't hold any ill will toward you or anyone coming out, and would like to apologize to you personally if you're inclined to talk. You can reach me anytime. You don't have to go through a lawyer or my agent or any of that nonsense. I'm available to talk to you privately anytime. I've definitely behaved badly, and I own that. I should have behaved better then, but I will now. For everyone else, I'll keep making videos and keep interviewing people. I hope you continue watching. Thanks for listening. Bye. There you go, an example of a radical acceptance apology. Short, sweet, but it importantly does some interesting things. Spawns levels with audiences about motivation. It's honest and relatable about your motivations, but it also reveals the motivations of people who are publishing stories about you. They're often emotionally frustrated, and acknowledging that makes it less likely for others to do it in the future. The second thing that apology does is it front-runs any trouble in the future. You admit that you did XYZ a lot, and that not all of those stories have come out yet. And that's okay. The apology reframes the narrative as a bubble in time, rather than an ongoing list of stories that you can never quite keep up with. Lastly, it deals with people still debating whether or not to come forward with their own stories. As you're expressing, you're available to listen to them privately. And this will make the public question anybody who continues to come forward publicly. They'll have watched you say, I am open to listening to you privately, and then if people continue to come forward publicly, the public will now question their motivations. So radical acceptance as a strategy disables future stories, neutralizes motivations, and you've taken control of the narrative back. And now you're going to ride the story like a Comanche Indian rides a horse into battle, and put the motivations now solely on the people that continue to come forward. Make the public question their motivations, not your motivations. You've been radically honest. The trick and the difficult part for some people is you have to cut out the bad behavior. It's got to stop. If you don't, and you get busted again, you're finished. That's the end of you.
That's just what it is. I hope that young people, and young men in particular, can use my mistakes to learn and move through life with a better understanding of consent. And I'm 25 years old, and I have my whole life ahead of me, but I really think that I need to do some serious work on myself and figure myself out. So I'm going to start therapy sessions pretty much immediately. And I think that alcohol in general has had a devastating impact on my life. So I think I'm going to make the decision to join the 12-step program for Alcoholics Anonymous. And during this journey into sobriety, I want to take a serious step back from public life. And like I said, figure myself out. And I hope that this reaches the ears of anyone who's felt affected by me. I'd love.
Okay, this is just bad. He's gotten bad advice. Somebody has told him, talk about how you're young. Remind the audience how you're young. And talk about how you're going to therapy. And also, I guess now he's suddenly, an alcoholic? He's had an epiphany that suddenly he needs to join the 12-step program. All of which is true. He's young. He maybe is going to start therapy. Maybe he does have a problem with alcohol. But it's not an effective strategy towards winning the zero-sum game in a media conflict where you can preserve and continue to grow your audience and keep your business relationships afloat so you still have a career after this little media fiasco. So the second option is the total war offense, the Genghis Khan. And unfortunately, many PR crisis comm experts have this old-fashioned idea that you lay low, let the news cycle blow over, let the details get fuzzy, and then nobody will quite remember what was said about you. They'll remember there's some controversy, but I can't remember, and there'll be no way of finding out. This strategy is as antiquated as listening only to AM radio. Google exists. The internet exists. Social media exists. The internet holds endless bandwidth. And if you do not respond to stories, either with radical acceptance or total offense, then stories continually accrue over time, forever, without a countervailing narrative pushing back against them. You must respond, but the way you respond, there's two different approaches. The second one is a total war offense. It's Genghis Khan. Punch them in the face, punch everyone in the face, and keep punching them, and punching them until they have no face left. Whether it's morally correct, I'll leave it up to you to decide. We do not live in the 1980s where news stories air for 1 week and then get archived on cassette and put in NBC's Fort Knox bunker of media in Burbank, California. That does not happen. It lives on the internet forever. People continue to pick at the story forever. So if you are unable to stop doing scummy things, or unable to convince people that what you did was not scummy, there is a Kantian philosophical division there. But unfortunately, as we do not live in the textbook of an academic, but the real world, where it does not really matter where what you did was actually wrong or perceived as wrong, we must, to quote Joan Didion, play it as it lays. So I would submit to Andrew the other best approach to controlling the narrative is attack. When accusations are leveled against you, you deny the truth. You deny everything. You deny the person voicing the accusation's intelligence. You deny their emotional continence. You question their motivations. You question their associates. If they're a reporter, the reporter is biased. Look at these other stories. Look at their voting record, their friends. If it's a person attacking you, they're a failed actor. They want it for the money. They're a crazy fan. Throw it all at them and at everyone who comes at you. The game is to muddy the waters with alternate narratives and character assassinations. It is the Russian media playbook 101. Flood the airwaves. Signal jam the narrative. Flood it with tons of information. So much information that people no longer know what's true or not. They're not sure, and so they leave. This person wants money. That person wants revenge. That person is an unstable fan. I didn't do anything wrong. Why would I? I'm a good person. I make good work. Look at me. What do I need to do anything wrong against them for? I'm successful. They're a hater. They're a loser. They're a liar. But it doesn't stop there. Anytime you get a scent of anyone thinking of saying something negative about you, you front run them, and you take to Twitter and declare that person was going to harm you before they even said anything. You call everyone out by their name. No protecting identities. If they want to enter the public arena with you, then you put a spotlight under them and hope they melt underneath the heat. And a good, successful example of this is Dave Portnoy. When Business Insider came for Dave Portnoy, he calls out the editor, he called out the reporter, he called out the business as a scam, he went after the founder, he makes it personal and requests interviews. And when they decline the interviews, he says, look, they're weak, I'm strong, they're pathetic, they're cowards. They don't want the truth. I'm telling the truth, they're lying.
Knock, knock. Hey, Julia Black, you fuck. Hey, Henry Blodgett, you scumbag, you criminal, you banned motherfucker, stole people's money. Yeah, I'm talking to you two cocks. I'm coming for you. Last time I talked to you, I was in Mexico.
So, Julia, your move. Let's go. I want to go to court. And by the way, my lawyers are like, you won't win anything. I don't give a fuck. I'm not going to court to win anything. I'm going to punish them and prove you can't do what they're doing. They're just trying to be like, look, there's 6 girls, 8 girls. Smoke, there's fire. No, there's not. I've debunked every single one of them. There's no truth to any of this shit. Unless you want Ava Louise, who openly says she's a fucking psychopath liar and I've never met in my life. That's the only source they've used.
So, yeah, I saw that piece of shit, Henry Blodgett's on there. My first question is, why would a piece of shit who's been banned by the SEC from talking about stocks be on there? My second question is, hey, Henry, you fucking coward. You know everything you wrote about me was bullshit. Why don't you ever sit down with me, you fucking piece of shit coward? That's my question for Henry.
You plant doubt on every farmable acre of information on the internet, and then let that doubt grow into a forest of uncertainty until people are too confused and give up and give you the benefit of the doubt because they don't know what's going on. Is this morally or ethically good? Who cares? Remember, this is to be treated as a game with the goal to win. Andrew takes a slightly meeker approach.
So I think I'm going to make the decision to join the 12-step program for Alcoholics Anonymous. And during this journey into sobriety, I want to take a serious step back from public life. And like I said, figure myself out. And I hope that this reaches the ears of anyone who's felt affected by me. I'd love to reach out to you, or you can reach out to me, even just for me to say, I'm sorry. And I really apologize, and I appreciate you all. I also want to apologize to my closest collaborators, you know, my friends, my family, and people who will have to wear this stain on their career forever. You guys don't deserve this, and I love you guys.
The last part of a good strategy when playing a combative game with the media is friends. When accusations are swirling around and friends are asking you if things are true or not, they are always not true. To confirm something to your friends before you publicly spoke, then you've essentially lost control of the narrative. Because if they decide to run their mouth before you've spoken, you've lost. It's like court. Before a jury is assembled and you've got lawyers and the court begins, you're brought before the judge and they ask you, how do you plead? What is the answer? You're always not guilty. You can always change it later, but plead not guilty first. It's always deny. It's always not true, because it gives you some leverage. It gives you some time to formulate how you want to respond, whether you want to go with radical acceptance or total offense. If you say an accusation is false to your friends, the worst that is likely to happen is they are going to stay silent rather than defend you. Perhaps you decide it's in your best interest to deny publicly. Well, now hard to do if you told your friend the opposite. If you say it's false privately and then later confirm it is true publicly, well, you can always spin it around and say, yeah, sorry about that. I needed time to think about how I wanted to handle things. Now, I know in this case, Andrew Callaghan went ahead and confirmed it to Twitch streamer Hassan and H3H3 on YouTube before he spoke, which means he already lost control of how people are speaking for him. You want to speak for yourself. Don't let a friend, no matter how much you like them, blunder your defense, or a reporter talk about you, or quote you only a line or two in a larger story. Speak for yourself.
Staying on their career forever. You guys don't deserve this, and I love you guys. That being said, if you never want to watch Channel 5 again, I understand. I hope you remember the missions of radical empathy and media literacy that we have tried to put into the world through our coverage. All right, that's all I want to say.
Listen, overall, I don't think Andrew is a bad person at all. I think he was motivated by sex. He made some silly decisions. His approach was that of an addict, seemingly lying, misleading, manipulating people to get what he wanted. And he's not that honest about it in the video, but it's not the worst sin on earth. And I think he got some bad advice about, make sure to include that you're young and that alcohol is partly to blame. Personally, I wish Andrew good luck. I really like his videos. And if you're watching this, you will get through this. You will be all right. This is not career ending. You made mistakes, but everybody has. And after 10 years of being around this game on both sides, from marketing, PR, to journalism, and workshopping playthroughs for people, I can say that this is not the end of the world. However, I can say that was not the best strategy Andrew took. It's define your audience. Look attractive. You can do that. Anybody can do that on camera. Control the narrative. And lastly, when it comes to the court of public opinion, your friends most likely are not going to defend you, so you don't owe them an explanation, at least right away. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like or subscribe if you want to see more content on understanding media strategy. See you soon. Bye.